all, my dear students. This is what we are going to do today. A work of Artifice by Marge Piercy, born in 1936. Okay, so let's start. I think in the last lecture, I have finished explaining to you, I've given you a detailed explanation of the entire poem, and what is left is we are going to discuss the style today. Now, I don't recollect if I have discussed the setting with you all. I think I have. So please check my module 1. I have discussed the setting with you over there. And what we are going to discuss today is begin with the style. Now basically, if you see what is the style of this poem, it's very simple. It is in it's an allegorical style. Do you know what's an allegory? If you don't know, you can take it down. An allegory style is something about, I'll see if I have the exact definition. Yes, you can take it down. An allegory is a poem or a play that teaches a moral lesson through symbolism. An allegory is a poem or a play that teaches a moral lesson through symbolism. That is the definition of allegory. Now, what is the allegory over here? It's very obvious that she has used a bonsai tree. Marge has used a bonsai tree, and she is trying to teach us a moral through the bonsai tree. And the tree is used at a metaphorical level, where the tree, the bonsai the bonsai represents all the subjugated women, not every woman, but the women who are subjugated. Now I don't know, because this poem was actually written when America was undergoing that, was at the peak of feminism. So, but if you relate it to our Indian context, it is about feminism, but I'm not very sure whether it will match with our context, because we do believe, we have feminism from the beginning. We have so many Shaktis, and we have so many people in our religion, where we always worship God with his feminine aspect. If there is Krishna, there has to be Radha. If there is Ram, there has to be Sita. So Krishna, and we never say Ram Sita, we always say Sita Ram, we always say Radhe Krishna, then we always say Umapati. Okay, so Umapati is Shiv. Okay, and only over there we sometimes we don't say Parvati Shankar, we say Shankar Parvati, but then we do say I can't think of another name for, we say Shankar Parvati. So I think that is the only couple where Parvati comes behind. The rest of the times I think we are saying, we say Radhe Krishna, then we say Lakshmi Narayan, then we say Sita Ram. So that is everywhere. Okay, I think Shankar Bhagwan is the only one who proves that exceptions prove the rule. So the rule is the feminine first. So this is about feminism. Okay, I think I've spoken too much out of reference, but anyway, you'll have to bear with that. So that is the first thing about our style. It is allegorical style, like I told you. And if you look at it, so there are two, this thing, at the literal level, it is talking about a bonsai tree, but at the level of a metaphor. So if you take the bonsai tree as a metaphor, then it is talking about the subjugated woman wherever they are subjugated. Then we come in the style, like I've told you, I don't remember if I've told you, but if I've not told you, I'm telling you that when you're talking about the style, you have to first give the form of the poem. So the form of the poem is allegorical. Then you come to the next, what is the form of the poem? That this poem has got a total of 24 lines. Okay, if you see, there are 24 lines in this poem, and it is written in free verse. So there is no rhyming scheme. There is no A, B, C, D, nothing. It is just written in free verse, whatever you want to do. And hence there is no rhyming scheme. Now, if you look at these, if you look at your textbook, you will find that the short lines seem to be broken. Like if you see over here, the very first line we'll take, the bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning, but a gardener carefully pruned it. It's 9 inches high. Every day So, the lines are broken, cut. Just in the way as which you would cut a tree to make it into a bonsai tree. So you find that this entire small lines that she has written, they seem to be broken, like as if you're trimming the tree. Okay, that is what it seems. And it also represents the confinement of the bonsai tree to an attractive pot. Okay, so the tree has been put in a pot, which is very, very attractive, and after putting it in a pot, the gardener keeps pruning it and cutting it all the time. Okay, that is why these lines are all cut. And basically, why do you think it is written in free verse? Because Marge Piercy thought that if it is in free verse, whenever any poem is written in free verse, it allows the reader to be connected to the emotions or the feelings of the poet or poetess, whoever has written. Free verse gives you a chance to connect with the emotions. So that is the way. So first we talk about the allegorical style, then we talk about the form of the poem, next we talk about the narration. It's very obvious the narration is in third person till we come to that last line, the last two lines where she says, the hands you love to touch. So there third person becomes second person. Okay, so the last two lines are in the second person. And then, of course, in this style, we discuss a number of literary devices she has used. Now, I would have explained to you a lot of literary devices while I was teaching the poem in my first module. In case I haven't, or if I have missed something, let's discuss them all over again. First of all, we have imagery. So, what is the imagery that is used by the poet over here? First one is visual imagery. Now, what is the visual imagery that is used? In an attractive pot, that's the first one, that like you can imagine an attractive pot, and then she says it is 9 inches high, so you can imagine that there is an attractive pot in which the tree has grown tall and it is about 9 inches high. So, and then also where she talks about the hair is in curlers, so if your hair is in curlers, that's also visual imagery. Then she has used a number of auditory imagery. So, what is the example of auditory imagery? Let me see. The gardener croons. Look at that verse, look at that line. The gardener croons. That means he hums. So, when he is singing, he is humming a tune. So, that humming is an auditory imagery. You can imagine the gardener humming while he is trimming. So, that is the auditory imagery. Then we have tactile imagery. You know what is tactile imagery? Tactile imagery is that imagery which, by the use of words, it touches the skin. It makes you feel the sensation. Okay, so here the tactile imagery would be the last two lines, the hands you love to touch. Okay, why do you love these hands? What is the reason that you love these hands? The hands you love to touch, correct. But why do you love these hands? Because these hands are manipulated hands. You have manipulated them according to the way you wanted them. Right? That is why the hands you love to touch. Then, of course, we have a lot of metaphors involved. Now, what are the metaphors over here? I wanted to take down the metaphors. They are very easy. I've explained it to you, but still I'll just give you in short. The metaphors over here, the gardener croons wala jo line hai na, the gardener but a gardener. So the gardener is an extended metaphor for the patriarchal society. Okay, the entire patriarchal society spelling is PATRIARCHAL. So the entire patriarchal society is a metaphor. The gardener is a metaphor for that. Now, in the patriarchal society, you could have anybody. You could have your father, you could have your brother, you could have your husband, you could have your son, anybody. Okay, so that is a patriarchal society, is the gardener. Then we come to the metaphor of the bonsai tree. The bonsai tree here in the poem represents the women, subjugated women. Okay. Then we have the whittling and the pruning, where he says, no, he whittles and he prunes and all, he carefully pruned it, whittles back the branches. Okay, so that whittling and pruning is a metaphor for confinement and brainwashing. That is a metaphor for confinement and brainwashing. And then you have a pot to grow in. Pot is an intentional confinement. You have intentionally confined the tree into a pot. Okay, so that is it. So then we have the metaphors. After the metaphors, he has also used the figure of speech of allusion. Do you know what is an allusion? I'll give you the exact this thing if I have it. Allusion actually means where you are referring to an old okay, I don't have the exact words, but anyway, allusion basically means where you are referring to an old practice, an old ritual, an old practice which was practiced earlier. That is called an allusion. So what is the allusion that he has used over here? The bound feet. You know, where he has said the bound feet, that is the allusion. And I have explained it to you in detail in my first module when I explained to you what was the bound feet. It is an allusion to the reference of a historical practice in China. I had explained this to you. If you don't recollect, please go back to my module 1. So that is the allusion used. Now we come to the symbolism. The poet has used a symbolism. Now what is the symbolism over here? Of course, the bonsai tree. The bonsai tree is a symbolism that has been used to as a symbol for representing the idea of human beings being dwarfed. Okay, so the bonsai tree has been used as a metaphor, though it is a metaphor for women, but you must understand this point. It is a metaphor for women, no doubt, the bonsai tree, but it can also have a symbolic meaning where the bonsai tree has been used as a symbol to represent every single individual whom we have dwarfed. Now here I want to specially stress on this point for the simple reason that it is not only the women whom we keep subjugating. We subjugate the males also. Like when you are small, if you're in a family, if the father passes away, then the mother will ensure that the eldest child of the family, the eldest male child of the family, he becomes the man of the house, and thus we ensure that he loses out on his childhood because he is expected to take up the responsibilities that his father would have done. So that is also a crime that we are committing, isn't it? Then also sometimes, if you have seen siblings, brothers and sisters and everybody, it is always the brother who is told that चल छोड़ देना यार, तेरी बहन है ना, she's your sister, why don't you give it to her, let it be, give her if she wants it. So again, the male child has to let go of what he likes just for the sake of his sister. Similarly, when he grows up, it is expected that he runs the house, he earns enough so that his family can enjoy everything. So he gives up a lot also. So we put in these social constraints also on the male child. It's not only the female child. So the symbolism over here is that the bonsai tree can represent any individual, whether male or female, any individual who has been dwarfed, whose emotions and feelings have been curtained. So please remember this. This is the difference in the symbolism and in the difference in the metaphor. Then we come to euphemism. Now what is euphemism? Euphemism is a word or a phrase which we use to when we are talking about an uncomfortable topic. We don't want to talk about that topic. It's a little uncomfortable because somebody might feel bad, somebody might feel good. So all that, it's an uncomfortable topic that we don't want to talk about. So when we use euphemism, when the poet or the author uses euphemism, he is using this particular literary device where a word or a phrase represents, it softens the uncomfortable topic and therefore you are able to talk about it. So euphemism is a word or a phrase that softens an uncomfortable topic. Okay, so here what is the topic? The topic is societal oppression. Now you cannot speak about the topic ekdam khullam khulla, isn't it? So it has been softened by using euphemism and by discussing the effect on a bonsai tree. Okay, so that it has been softened. Then there is irony. Now what is the irony involved over here? That it is given over here very clearly to us that the bonsai tree could have grown 80 feet tall. It could have grown 80 feet. But what have we done? But a gardener carefully pruned it. Come down. But a gardener carefully pruned it. And then the gardener is saying, how lucky little tree to have a pot to grow in. So first of all, it's a tree which could have grown to 80 feet tall. The gardener has pruned it, ensured that it does not grow, put it in a pot. So it has confined the tree, which would have grown on a mountainside, which would have just flourished to up to 80 feet. Okay, and after doing that, he puts it in a pot and he says, "You're so lucky to have got an attractive pot to grow in." So that is ironical. That is the irony. Okay, what is a pot meant for? A pot is meant for small house plants. It is not meant for growing a tree. Okay, so it's very ironical. Then the personification. What is the personification over here? That the bonsai tree has been given the attributes of a human being. Now trees don't have feet, but here the bonsai feet has got feet. Okay, so he has described it as feet. Then the brain. The brain is something which humans have. So that has been given to the tree, where he says the crippled brain. Yeah, the crippled brain. So that is, then again when he says the hair in curlers. So again, the bonsai tree doesn't have hair, but if you're putting the hair in curlers, it means again you're giving it a human attribute. Okay, so these are all the personifications that the poet has used. So this much for the entire the style and all the literary devices that have been used in the poem. Now we will come to the title. Okay, so what is the title of the poem? I'll give it to you. I've given it, I began my lecture with that, but I'll just give it to you again. This is the title of the poem. And with that, you can take the critical appreciation also, so that we can discuss it together. So I'm giving you the entire thing. This keeps moving. I hope you are getting clear pictures. Okay, that's the critical appreciation. Then we have I think we'll discuss so much and then I'll give you the rest so that we can continue. So we begin with the title. It's very easy. I'm just going to read it out. If there is a problem, you can read it again. The words are very simple and I have explained it in detail. The simple terms, the word artifice means clever or cunning tricks to deceive or to control somebody. The title suggests that the bonsai tree, and by an extension, the individuals represented by the tree, is a result of careful manipulation and control. So somebody is trying to manipulate you and control you. The next question that arises in the reader's mind is that whose work is the artifice? For whom? And for what purpose? So whose work is the artifice? Artifice means a clever trick, isn't it? So whose work is it? Who has done that artifice? And for what purpose has this artifice been done? At the beginning, it is a tree that could have grown 80 feet tall, pruned to 9 inches, confined in an attractive pot, giving shape to the branch and trunk, controlled by the gardener. So the bonsai tree is a work of artifice. Similarly, the title can be seen as a critique of societal norms and traditions that hinder the growth of an individual. Particularly here, it is for women from reaching their full potential. Such thwarted or dwarfed individuals become a work of artifice, manipulated and constrained by the societal expectations. Thus, the title, A Work of Artifice, is apt and justified. Okay, very clear? Now we come to the critical appreciation. When you come to critical appreciation, you can write in your own thoughts. Written in freestyle, the poem is a work of artifice. The poem, A Work of Artifice, is a strong critique of social norms and expectations through a profound metaphor, the bonsai tree. The gardener carefully shapes and manipulates the tree, which could have grown to 80 feet tall, into 9 inches in a small decorative pot. This represents the social expectations which prevent an individual, particularly women, from flourishing to their full potential. The use of simple, straightforward language makes the poem easy to understand. The free verse style used by the poet conveys the emotions felt at a deeper level. The use of imagery presents vividly a picture before our eyes of a tree stunted and in our brains of an individual. Here, a woman is dwarfed by the society, stifled in growth through the portrayal of a gardener who could represent a father, a husband, a son, or any male who is happy at stunting the growth of a woman under his charge. It could also mean if you're working at an office and any male is trying to thwart your growth. It can represent that also. The last two lines, the hand you love to touch, projects a beautiful image of the message, do not bite the hands that feed you, because ultimately it is the hands of a woman that feeds you. They are ironic, conveying the thought that a person, here a man, who oppresses a woman still seeks a loving touch from her hands. Thus, the poem can be read at two levels, the literal level and the metaphorical level, which conveys the clever manipulation of an individual by societal expectations. Okay, now we come to the themes. Take the second page. I've given you the themes. The main theme is nature versus nurture. There's a difference in nature and a difference in nurture. This poem brings to the forefront the contrast between a bonsai tree and a real tree, which could have grown to 80 feet tall on the mountainside. Careful pruning and molding the tree reflect how external influences can shape and limit an individual's growth and potential. This theme prompts the reader to consider the impact of external factors on personal development and how they may be limiting their own potential. It is not just the size that has been altered, but also the natural habitat. The natural habitat of the tree was a mountainside where it could have grown to 80 feet. That has been curtailed and you have been put in a pot. So it is not only the tree, the nature that has been curtailed, but even the natural environment, the natural habitat has also been changed. Now we come to societal expectations. I want you all to take this down, please. Okay, that is suppression of women and societal expectations. So let's start with societal expectations. The gardener's beliefs that, oh God, please add the word that. The gardener's beliefs that the societal expectations imposed on individuals, often limiting their potential. These expectations confine individuals to predetermined roles, whether a male or a female, preventing them from realizing their full capabilities. So whether it's a male or whether it's a female, societal expectations dwarf the growth of any individual. So these expectations confine individuals to predetermined roles, whether male or female, preventing them from realizing their full capabilities. This oppression often begins at a young age. We teach not only the females about how they should behave, but also young male children that they should not cry, they should never show emotions, they should always be the one with the larger heart, they should try to make the girls happy and protect them at every step, they should ensure that his earning runs the house, etc. So these are the societal expectations from the male. This theme encourages the reader to consider the ways in which societal pressures may be stifling their own potential and to question the validity of these constraints. So this theme of societal expectations, when you understand it in detail, it is as if it is forcing the reader to think whether these societal expectations are worth it or not, and whether these expectations are limiting your own progress, isn't it? And are they valid? Whether you're a male or a female, are they valid? So this is one point of my critical appreciation that I felt I should give you all. No, it is a themes, sorry. The first one was nature versus nature. And the second one is societal expectations. The third theme is the suppression of women. The poem was composed at the height of the American feminist movement. It addresses the systematic suppression of women and restricts them to their predetermined roles. A small bonsai tree in an attractive pot encourages the belief that women are desirable when they are pretty, delicate, and domestic. This conditioning begins very early, by their feet being bound, their brain being crippled, and their hair put in curlers. It represents the oppression of women and how the societal norms have prevented them from achieving their full potential. Okay, this thing about suppression of women is one of the themes. So I've basically given you three themes that we found in this poem. The first one is suppression. There is one of suppression of women. Then we have the societal expectations for every individual. And then we have the theme of nature versus nurture. So I have covered up every aspect of this poem, and I hope it's become enjoyable for you, and that you should be able to answer any question that is given to you. Now children, what I do want you all to remember is that you are still in standard 9 and you have a lot of time for your ICSE. Standard 9, of course, you will be appearing for the ICSE itself, but it is part 1 in such. So it's a time when you get to, it is conducted by your school, and also you get a time, you get that time to master the subject. What you have to do and what you have to understand, children, is that you practice writing. First of all, you learn everything. You learn the word meanings that are given to you, whether I have given it or whether your school teachers have given it. All the word meanings you should first understand. Once you understand and you learn the word meanings, after that the next step is to understand how those word meanings apply in this particular poem. Okay, that is what you've got to understand. After that, you've got to understand the style of the poem. When we talk about the style of the poem, what do we actually mean? We mean what is the narration, what is the form of the poem, what are the literary devices used in the poem. All that comes in the style of the poem. So you have to understand the style of the poem. Then you have to understand why a particular title is good. So for that reason, if you have not learnt your notes, supposing, and you don't recollect everything, what you should do is think about the title, A Work of Artifice. Now if you have learned the meaning of artifice, it will be easy for you to understand what is an artifice. So then you can write even on your own, but then that would not be unless you are very good and you are ekdam to the point. Therefore it is always advisable to learn notes which are given to you. Apart from my notes, whichever workbook you are using, all workbooks have got notes. Every workbook has got a note given. Your teachers would have given you a few notes, and also you practice writing your workbook solving, and your teachers will discuss the answers with you. I am assuming that. So it will be easy for you to grasp the subject. Okay, so see you all again in my next module when I come up with the next poem. Bye everyone.